pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This was the original Pledge of Allegiance before President Eisenhower signed a bill enforcing the phrase, "Under God," into the pledge. Religion in public schools is not allowed, and many students feel that it is inappropriate to advocate it. Today, I would like to inform you all some conflicts involving religion in public schools, teaching about religion, and a little bit about the Pledge of Allegiance. First, the conflicts involving religion in public schools. Major problems include people with inclusivist, exclusivist, and pluralistic beliefs. People with inclusivist views believe there's some truth found in all religions and want major religions discussed in schools, but they want their religion to be given special treatment. People with exclusivist views believe their religion is the only true major religion and should be taught in all schools, but they don't approve of other religions being taught on an equal basis as their own. People with pluralistic views believe that all religions are true and that all major religions should be taught in schools. Some are concerned that teachers will favor their religion over others, or favor one religion over others. And other theists, like non-theists, like Buddhists, humanists, and atheists, don't want religion at all to be taught because of the concept involving a deity. There is a strict separation of the church and the state because of this. Secondly, teaching about religion in schools. Teaching about religion in schools is allowed to some extent. Teachers are not allowed to endorse a religion or express their opinions about it. They are government officials who are supposed to teach by the curriculum. And when teaching religion in a history class, it is difficult not to come across a religion. So students should think objectively when looking at religion's role in history. Teachers should also teach in a manner that would not offend the students when talking about a particular religion. There have also been cases in which students have filed a claim against teachers who have felt offended when discussing a religion in school. Like this case that happened here in 2007 somewhere in Orange County. I believe it was San Capistrano Valley High School, where a teacher was teaching European history, and this particular student was didn't like the way he taught because the teacher would say phrases like, "Well, when you put your Jesus goggles on, you can't see the truth." So this student got really offended and didn't like the way he was teaching. I don't really have an update about this case right now, but I believe it's still going on. But this is just one example of religion involving being taught in school. And lastly, the Pledge of Allegiance. In 1954, President Eisenhower added the phrase, "Under God," to the Pledge of Allegiance. For many years, people have recited this without much objection. But in 2002, atheist Michael Newdale was successful in having the phrase "under God" declared unconstitutional. However, an act by Congress limited the power of the judiciary, preventing the removal of the phrase. The phrase "under God" underlies that there is a deity, and many people do not like this. Nowadays, most schools are required to recite the Pledge of Allegiance, but like for our state, all schools are required to recite the Pledge of Allegiance, but students have the option whether or not to actually recite the Pledge of Allegiance. And there's this site called procon.org, which gives you a map of all the states which require the Pledge of Allegiance, and whether or not students have the option on reciting it. So in conclusion, today I have talked to you about issues involving religion in schools, teaching about religions in schools, and the Pledge of Allegiance. I hope you all learned something new today.
All right, Sandra, the speech is organized pretty clearly. It's easy to follow. Some of the content needs a little bit more development, but you've got some interesting ideas here. And you try to cite supporting material when it becomes appropriate to do so. I felt like the content of the speech was actually pretty well prepared. The delivery of the speech, on the other hand, is where the problems are, because you stand behind the podium, your hands are crossed most of the time, sometimes they're resting on the podium. Your facial expressions seem very impassive. You're doing a lot of reading, and so you just feel disengaged. The best part of the presentation was when you were talking about that example about the San Juan Capistrano School District. Then I could hear some variation in your voice. You actually looked up to talk to the audience about this experience and make a point about it, and you really began to feel a little bit more engaged. But then that example stopped. There's not much to it, and you go back to kind of just focused on your reading again. And you need to be a lot more personable and engaged when you're talking. I don't know, maybe I heard you sniffing quite a lot. Maybe you've got a little bit of a cold, and that's preventing you from perking it up a little bit. But it just feels like you're reading in front of the audience instead of trying to talk to the audience and engaging us. And I think that's a letdown. I do think that you've got a clear exit at the speech. Like I said, the content was organized, but it doesn't sound much like a speech. It just sounds like an essay that somebody's written and then they're reading it out loud in the class. All right, thank you.